Happy New Comic Book Day. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. Let me know what you guys are reading in the comments. What you plan on picking up today? There are a ton of new books today, just a ton. I've got myself a fat stack here, a huge stack. Some of the stuff I plan on talking about today. We've got Star Wars: The High Republic number 13. We've got Hulk number 3. We've got Amazing Spider-Man 86. She-Hulk number 1, Silk number 1, Reilly Spider-Man number 1, and Venom number 4. We also have several first appearances this week, so you guys want to make sure you look at everything before you make your final decisions today. I'm gonna start off with some of my. We're gonna work up to what I thought was the cooler books. So I'm gonna start with She-Hulk. I got the Bartel cover. It's a gorgeous cover. I love the bold colors in it. The book itself was good. I don't know that I don't think I'm going to continue reading it. I mostly just picked it up because it was a number 1, and yeah. But if you are, it looks like if you are a fan of just the Hulk universe, if you're a fan of the Fantastic Four characters, I think this is going to be a good pick for you. It's kind of about Jennifer Walters getting back on her feet. I haven't read enough of the character to know what happened, previous, but this cover doesn't have the legacy number on it, but something's happened to her, and she's having to kind of start over as her, both in her career as a lawyer and in her alter ego career as a superhero. So we'll see what's going on there. She's starting at a new law firm. It was okay, but like I said, I personally probably am not going to keep reading the title. I just mostly picked it up because it was a number 1. So next up on my list, I have Star Wars: The High Republic 13. I believe this is just the A cover. High Republic consistently lands as a good book. This is the first time in the regular High Republic line that we've seen Marchion Ro. So he shows up. He's kind of, I think this is going to start tying in with Eye of the Storm as we get closer to the climax of Phase 1 of the High Republic. That's coming up in just a few issues. I think 15 is going to be the last issue of Phase 1. And we get to see some cool stuff in here that has been building over the last several issues with Avar Kriss and Keeve Trennis as well. I do think this is going to be a important issue. I think whatever happens I feel like we're going to have the Game of Thrones effect here. I think next issue is probably going to be one of the most important issues in the series, being the second to last issue in the story arc. So be sure you read this. It's the middle of a story. I don't think 14 would make sense without it, but I do think 14, and I don't have anything official to back this other than a gut feeling and context clues in the books, but I do have a feeling that issue 14 will be a key issue. Up next, let's see what we got here. Venom 4. I got the ASM 300 homage cover. The Venom story has been intriguing. It hasn't. Do you want me to tell you something awesome about what? What do you want to hear that's awesome? Venom was. We'll get to the awesome books later. Venom was good. Okay, so I've enjoyed Venom, but the series as a whole just hasn't gripped me to the point of just thinking it's amazing. But this book, we are still following the Dylan story. We do finally get to see Eddie for just a second, but we don't. It still doesn't leave much to what's going on with Eddie. We do see that Meridius is working with the Life Foundation. We finally get to see Meridius again, and this is the first time we've seen him since that very first issue. So he shows up and he's talking to the executives of the Life Foundation. And then if you were on the Whatnot sale, we talked about how this is the first appearance of Bedlam. And yeah, it is. He doesn't do anything in the book, but he shows up. He gets his a full-on two-page splash page, and he just kind of shows up. So I'm super excited to see what he's going to do in the next issue. And honestly, Bedlam showing up is what's going to keep me reading Venom for now. I'm going to pick up issue 5 just to see where that's going. He looks super cool. He's huge for a symbiote character. At least he looks huge. He kind of, I don't know. He looks like a carnage frog is the best way I can describe him. I don't know that the Venom symbiote will go back to Eddie. I think that it's gonna stay with Dylan for a while. And I don't know that Eddie's gonna come back in any sort of physical form. I think Eddie is now just another consciousness in Venom. So yeah, I think Dylan's gonna be the human in the symbiote, and Eddie's gonna be just another voice that he hears because he's just Eddie is part of the symbiote hive mind now. So that's kind of how we see him in this book. When he does briefly appear, it's just through these other symbiotes, and he even says he's not exactly alive, but he's not exactly dead either. So I think Eddie's in symbiote limbo, and I think he's going to stay there for a while. And it could be cool to see Dylan as the main human part of Venom for a while, and it goes from being this binary personality to now there's three consciousnesses. Three consciousness is, I don't know, it's a word now, that are Venom. So I do think it's interesting. I do want the story to get to the Eddie part of the story a little bit faster. I want to see, because Ram V is writing the Dylan part. I want to see what's going on with Al Ewing writing the actual Eddie part. I want to see more of what Meridius is all about, what his overall scheme is. It's real vague. I mean, we know that he's a new big bad, but we don't know anything about him. We don't know what his long-term goal is. It's issue 4 of the series, and all we know is that Dylan is hiding from something. So far, that something is really just the Life Foundation, but they're like, what are they trying to do? They're obviously they're up to their typical game of trying to protect humans from the symbiote alien. And yeah, I am too, Mike. It's very intriguing. But to me, I just hope that it's not intriguing in the same way that The Force Awakens was intriguing, and it opens up all these questions that never get answered. So we're 4 issues in now. I hope that by issue 5 we start getting some answers to some of these questions. Not all of them, but I want things to start lining up and start making sense. So yeah, it was intriguing. Like the series has been completely up to this point. The first appearance of Bedlam is cool. I do love the interior art for those couple pages. And I'm super excited to see what that character's all about. And hopefully he's a pretty cool bad guy that sticks around for a while. So next up on my list And you guys, you chime in with anything you've been reading too. I'd love to talk to you guys about what you guys are interested in this week. We don't have to just talk about what I read. Yeah, Mike, that's completely how I feel about the Force Awakens. I felt that in its own little bubble, it was a very good story. It had some great opportunities. They just kind of dropped the ball. Ace, until last I checked, there were copies on the wall at the store currently. There was only a couple of this cover left, so I don't know if there's any of this cover up there still, but I do believe there are still A and B covers up there. So yeah, come swing on by and pick up a copy. So yeah, my next book, Hulk 3. I think it's been awesome. I have thoroughly enjoyed everything about the Donny Cates Hulk. Um, the last issue we kind of ended with Hulk being pulled out of this aether, this in between dimensions kind of realm by a Bruce Banner. Uh, don't worry too much. If there are copies left, I'm gonna put them on Monday's live sale, and I there usually are. There's quite a few copies, so just be on the lookout for Monday's live sale, and I bet you can get a copy there. Uh, yeah, there are a lot of new characters. I don't really see the price too much on my part of the collecting because I'm usually not trying to get these more rare covers. I just want the newsstand covers, either A or B, whichever one I can get. Um, and with several of the characters, they've kind of been solicited that they were coming, and when a new character is in the solicits, those print runs get ordered more, which means that those books don't just skyrocket as much. I do think that the new Bloodstone is just the that thing is going for crazy. Um, but I want to see what these characters like. How impactful are they going to be to the Marvel universe? If it's just a character that's going to be around for a few issues and then they're just going to uh, shelve and never touch again, no, I don't want to pay a bunch of up-priced books for this first appearance of this character that's not going anywhere. But if this person is going to, if they're going to be a big deal, if they're already thinking about throwing them into the MCU, then yeah, I'd be willing to put out some more cash for it, but uh, usually not to the point of what the speculation market thinks. So yeah, I usually get priced out of that stuff pretty fast. But yeah, Hulk 3's been really good. We get to see, so he's in a reality now where that banner did not get um, exposed to the gamma, and his test was successful. And who is now President Ross in this reality has just used the G bomb to kind of take over the world, and now it's causing these Hulk creatures to run rampant in this reality. So this reality is Bruce is trying to use he's trying to recruit the 616 Bruce slash Hulk to kind of help. I don't know what his end game is to do with these. He calls them. He just refers to them collectively as abominations. Um, so I don't know what his end game is. Whether he's going to hunt them down to like get rid of them or test them or actually try to help them. He does seem kind of sinister, like not exactly sinister, but like he's not telling the entire truth. Um, and even the 616 Bruce, who is piloting this Hulk ship, is what we'll call him, is not exactly a nice guy either. So yeah, uh, I do think that it's going somewhere, uh, and it's been really good so far. This is part 3 of 6 for the Smashernaut, so we're halfway through this first story arc, um, and I can't wait to see how this one ends. I think it's good. I think it's Donny Cates has this way of, um, in a way, referencing something from everything he's writing, so you don't know what's going to show up from maybe some of the other books that he's writing. He's plays that long term game. It's good stuff. So I highly recommend Hulk. Also, I love our exclusive for both 3 and 4. 4 is really cool. I don't think we've launched it on the website yet, so keep an eye out on Hulk 4 on the Unknown Comics website. So my next book is Silk #1. I love Silk. I've loved Silk since she was created. This is another one which has, I believe, to be a new character. It's a new villain that, to my knowledge, she hasn't shown up before, and is as of yet unnamed. So counted as a cameo, however you want to count that. But it's good. I don't know. I just like Silk as a character. I think she's you know, it takes the whole the Spider-Man feel back to a younger version that has more freedom as a character, because you're you're not established in all of these different, basically, I guess, career paths that Pete is in. There's certain things that you expect Pete to do as he's gotten older, and this kind of resets that. Because she is the same character. They were even bit by the same spider, uh, but she doesn't have her life as figured out. So watching her figure that out is really cool. I loved the last 5 issue series of Silk. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the Cat Neiman thing was really cool, and I also love that there is, I, who's better? I don't know who's better. I like Silk because she's a completely different. Um, she they're both from the 616. Her and Peter, and I like that them being bitten by the same spider. It kind of does funny things with their powers when they're together. Like, they have this pheromonal attraction when they're together that they almost can't resist. I think that's super interesting. I like the idea that, yeah, she's had these powers forever, but she's been locked in a bunker, and time went on without her, so she's having to adapt to all this new technology and stuff. Where Ghost Spider is kind of the other way around. I feel like, which, yeah, I haven't read much of Ghost Spider. Just what I know about her has come from the Spider Verse movie. But it seems like whatever reality she came from might have been slightly more advanced than ours. So, like, she's ahead of the game. So I like seeing Silk being kind of left behind and trying to figure out this new world, because it is a new world to her. I mean, it even mentions in this book how she's not used to seeing people just in their phone all of the time, because there were no smartphones when she was locked up. Yeah, Spider Twin powers. And I also love seeing them bring the Korean culture into the book with Silk. I love how her villains are all closely tied to Asian myth and stuff like that. I think it's awesome. Um, and in my opinion, there's almost, I love all the spider characters. I don't think you can have enough spider characters. I will take Silk and Ghost Spider any day of the week. And going on into my next 2 books, I mean, we're going to finish strong with staying in the Spider Verse. So I have Ben Reilly #1 and Amazing Spider-Man 86. And I think that these two books are going to start intertwining a little bit. So Ben Reilly's Spider-Man takes place in the past. It takes place after Pete and Mary Jane moved to Portland, and Ben comes back to New York, and he's Spider-Man for a little bit. He just is the Spider-Man. Uh, it's kind of in a way doing the same thing X-Men Legends does, and just going back to this other time and kind of fleshing out some of the stuff that happens then. But what X-Men Legends doesn't do is it does not affect what is happening in the regular X-Men at all. Whereas I think what is happening in Ben Reilly Spider-Man is going to parallel what is happening to Ben Reilly in The Amazing Spider-Man, which I think is super creative. And I don't it I could be completely wrong because it wasn't marketed to be this, but just what happened in each of these books leads me to believe that. So Ben Reilly Spider-Man is it is basically when Ben meets Dr. Kafka for the first time, which is his therapist in Amazing Spider-Man. So I think we're going to see him start to build a relationship with her, um, and kind of show why he trusts her and all that stuff. Whereas in Amazing 86, we're starting to see his trust in the Beyond Corporation fracture, which I think that's super interesting. I do think that the books, I think that relationship between him and Kafka is going to be very important, as he struggles with his trust in Beyond, because she's also a Beyond employee. So yeah, the Ben Riley one was really good. It set the book up for he fights Carry On. He uses his he basically is compassionate and tries to help him, as opposed to just beating him up and waiting for the cops to get there. And that's kind of what leads him to talking to Kafka for the first time, and it sets it up for the next issue. He's going to be fighting Scorpion. But in ASM 86, I the last several issues we've seen him fighting with Doc Ock, and he's trying to keep Ock from getting all this stuff, while Octavius gives him this hard drive with a bunch of information on it. Well, he's looked at the information, and he's seen all the sketchy stuff that Beyond is doing. They're trying to get into the hero game, but apparently they might also be trying to get into the villain game. He's trying to tell Kafka about it, and they both believe that they're in a confidential, a safe place to talk. But Beyond is monitoring them all the time. And he left this stuff with Janine, and Beyond broke her out of prison. It even mentions in Ben Reilly Spider-Man how she is currently in prison. So I do wonder if we're going to see story parallel there, seeing as that particular detail was mentioned in both issues this week. But we also find out that Ben has had a memory wipe since joining Beyond, and he allegedly agreed to it, but they took out his less savory memories. So when they find out that he knows too much, they stun him and take him in for another memory wipe, and that's kind of where it ends off. I'm loving everything about ASM right now. I think that it's going to take, a little bit longer before this story is over. This story is going to bring us all the way till ASM #1, whenever that is. But yeah, it's been good. I do love the watching Ben's internal struggle. We do find out in This is another thing that I think that the books are going to kind of be linked about, is that there might be some question as to which person is the actual Peter Parker, uh, be it Ben or Pete. There might have been a mix-up. We don't know who the clone is. So it's been fantastic stuff. I'm a Spider-Man's my guy. So I'm going to be reading that every week. And I would tell everyone I know to go be picking up ASM. But that's what I've read so far this week. I've got about another 4 or 5 books to get through, just my books this week. It was a huge week, and that's kind of refreshing. We finally getting past the holidays, past all those slow new comic book days, and we're finally getting into getting a good amount of books every week. So that's all I got. Let me know in the comments what you guys are reading. Let me know if there's anything you'd like us to read and be able to talk to you guys about. We love getting to talk to our community. It's part of what makes being able to hop on here and go live so much fun. So don't forget, tomorrow we go live at 7 p.m. Central for our weekly podcast. And we'll also be back Friday morning at 11 a.m. for our Friday live show. I've got a ton of cool stuff for this week's sale. I've got new books. I've got old books. There's going to be lots of options. So I hope you guys can join us Friday at 11 a.m. And then Saturday throughout the afternoon. I don't know what time. I think we're planning on starting at noon and just going until it kind of dies off. But Lou Ferrigno is going to be here in the store signing stuff. So come join us on Saturday also. But that's all I got. Thank you guys. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you tomorrow.